Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me. So today we're going to talk about Job, the first 3 chapters of Job. And really Job has a lot of chapters, but the basis of the entire book of Job can be summed up in the very first 3 chapters and then just a little bit from the end. But that's why we're going to focus on these 3 chapters. So in chapter 1, we meet this man who God describes as being blameless, upright, fearing God, and turning from evil. Now, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. God knows Job's heart. Satan, on the other hand, who approaches God, said, he is a fair weather believer. You have blessed him. When you take those blessings away, he's going to turn his back on you. Well, God, like I said, knew Job's heart. And he knew that Job had enough in him that no matter what test, already pre ahead of all of this that was going to happen in his life, God knew the choices he would make because he knew the strength training that Job had endured and that had got him to the place where he was, that was not going to have him curse and turn on God. Because there was 2 perspectives here. There was God's perspective that said, nope, Job is going to be faithful, and Satan says, he's going to curse you and he's going to turn away from you. And so there they leave that conversation, and God says, okay, to prove you go ahead. You touch anything that is of his possessions and see. Test him. Test his heart. And so Satan does. And in the end of the first chapter, we come to Job saying, well, none of it was mine anyways. It was all God's. He deserved to take it away as much as he deserved to give it to me. And so we leave chapter 1 of Job having seen that God really did know his heart. But Satan was highly convinced that Job had something in him that would make him turn from God. And so he approaches God again and says, well, maybe though, if he's afflicted, he has something wrong physically with him, and he's enduring great pain, then he will curse you. And again, God, knowing Job's heart, said, fine, just don't kill him, but test him. And let's see what truly is within him. He even got to the point where now he's covered in boils, he's dealing with constant pain and suffering. His wife said, just curse God and be done with it. She was so afflicted by his misery, and I'm sure still getting over losing all her children, losing all their possessions. She was done with Job as well. But Job again goes, I choose to trust in God. And at the end of chapter 2, he says, naked I came. Oh, that was the first chapter, or the second chapter. Anyways. But he basically says, I am not going to turn on God. And he said, we shall accept indeed good from God and not accept adversity. That God has the right. And that's what was in Job's heart. God has the right to do whatever he wants with my life. So let him do it. And so we again see this strengthened man underneath that Satan did not see. Because the way that Job's life was going at the point that we intersected, we see him just being a man blessed. We did not see all the internal things that God had built to strengthen his integrity. And that was really the thing. I want to stop on this in chapter 2 to really focus on this for just a minute. I wrote in my notes, hold fast to integrity. Because it was his integrity that his wife was saying, just let it go. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to let go of my grip. I'm going to cling it tighter. I'm going to use this experience so that my cling to God, my grip is even stronger. So the next time that anything should come along, I will have the ability to hold on tighter. And that's the lesson that we really have to take away from this, is what do we do when we're in the middle of adversity? Do we say, I can't hold on anymore. This pain, this suffering, this whatever is just too much? Or do we press through and say, God, I want you to use this to make my grip tighter, and so that I can keep trusting in you even stronger than I had been before. It's strength training. It's a faith strength training that God takes us through every time we go through something that's difficult. And we can't be that fair weather believer that Satan wants us to be, because then when pain comes along, we just curse God and turn around. And that's not how it works. That's not how God uses our testimony. And then in chapter 3, Job's friends come, and they don't help at all. At the end of chapter 2, this is what Job's friends came to do. And I want to point out this difference too. It says that they came to sit with him, sulk with him, sympathize, and comfort. The last I checked, none of those things help us become stronger. They just help us to sit and wallow in what we're in and not do anything about it. And that's why I said the rest of the chapters of Job basically cover what these guys are trying to do that's ineffective. And God finally corrects them and says, you know what, just give it up. You're not going down the right road. This experience, none of you understand, and it's not caused by anything you can make sense out of, because, well, from your perspective, it doesn't make sense. But Job is choosing to hold on. He is choosing to get stronger through this, and therefore I will bless him in return, because his heart has proven that he is strong in his faith. And that's really where we want to go. We want to work towards that strongerness. And it doesn't mean that Job doesn't question God. It doesn't mean that he doesn't cry out to him and say, why? Because in chapter 3, he's like, why did you even let me be born? Why do these ups and downs of my life happen? Why me? We all say that, don't we? Why me? But in the end, what God did with Job's life was he gave us a testimony, a story. And that's what he does in all of our lives, through all of our experiences, is he provides us with a story of his faithfulness and our willingness to hold on to him, to not let go of what he has for us, to learn and to learn to be stronger. And we may not see any material blessings like Job did. When all this was over, God replenished and gave him even more. But then we may not see it in this world. It doesn't mean we won't see it in the next. So think about, as you look at what's going on in your life right now, and the lessons that Job can teach us about, just this is a time sometimes when we go through these struggles that our grip needs to be strengthened, and it is going to hurt. It's going to be painful. It's going to bring us to our close to breaking point sometimes, and when we cry out to God and say, why me? Just like Job. And God said, because I want to make you stronger. I want to use your story. I want to do all these things through you. Will you just trust me? So thanks for joining me. Sorry, a little bit long today again, but just couldn't resist sharing that whole story with you, because I think from beginning to end, we need to see everything that happens through the story of Job, because you can't leave it off at one point. And that's what his friends did, is they nitpicked and took little things here and there. And we can't do that with God. When we accept God into our lives, we accept him as the whole thing. And the whole thing means that we take the pain as well as the blessings. And we accept it as a full package because God is God, and He uses all of that for our good and for His glory. So, thanks for joining me again today on Daily Revelations. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.